Welcome everybody to the webinar. Some of you know me. My name is Augustas Kligis. I hosted recently a virtual summit for Amazon sellers called Seller Optimization Summit. So some of you came to my list probably through this summit, and also I did another virtual summit last year, which was called European Private Label Summit. And I talked to a lot of speakers, a lot of experts, and I decided to invite another person who might be interesting for you guys, who is expert in launching products. And I know you have a lot of questions. So I want to introduce Andy Arnott. Did I pronounce correctly your name?
Yeah, you did, actually. And that's pretty nice. Most people drop one T and think I'm French. Andy Arnott, or I get all kinds of interesting pronunciations.
Great. So yeah, please write to us in the chat if you can hear us well, me and Andy. Andy, maybe you can make your mic a little bit higher, the volume, if it's possible.
I think it was no problem.
Yeah. And
all right. Is that any better?
Yeah, I think it's good. And everyone who is there in the chat, please write where you are watching us from. I'm now based in Germany. We will wait a few minutes until everyone comes to the room. And so I'm in Germany. It's 9 p.m. My kid is already sleeping. And where are you, Andy?
I'm in Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. So we're the same time zone as Amazon, so Pacific time.
So you have now midday. Noon.
Yeah, noon. And we went from here in California from rain and cool weather to it's mid 80s, I think, here today. It's warm.
Yeah, so it's good for you. The day is starting. For me, it's ending. Andy just showed to me the view through his window. It's so nice, green and sunny. And I see in the chat, people are saying that they can hear as well. People are in UK, in Berlin, a lot of Europeans, another UK, London, Austria, Germany, Poland. What happened with the North Americans? Maybe it's too early.
Really, right? Yeah, maybe. They're at Starbucks right now getting their overpriced, terrible coffee.
All right, so everyone can hear us. Oh, FL, what does it mean? Florida, probably. Yeah. So
most likely.
There was another person saying that she's Lawrence from Michigan. Great. Miami, one more person from United States. Great. So we have, as always, during such time webinars, we have mix of Americans and Europeans. Asians, unfortunately, have to watch a replay. And another guy from Germany. I'm near Dresden. All right. So Andy, our guest is Andy today. People are still joining. I see the counter. And Andy, can you introduce a little bit yourself?
Sure.
How did you start? Are you selling yourself on Amazon, and why you started to serve other sellers with your knowledge?
Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah. So we started in 2013, and initially I just started as a side business. I used to work for the government full time, but I've always been into the internet and an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life since I was a teenager. So we did it to supplement my wife's income with our first child, and the business just kept growing and growing and growing, and then I built my first tool for Amazon sellers, to help get reviews. And then we had the big terms of service change. So then I started another service to help Amazon sellers in the new environment where, reviews are harder to come by, and it's getting a lot harder to stand out. You can't just do massive giveaways and get a bunch of reviews and kind of cheat. It's kind of a shortcut. So I started the service just to help other sellers, and the fact that especially people starting out, they just spend so much time and money trying to learn, just how to get their listing right. That's the biggest mistake I see for every client I work with is I hate to say it, but I used to be this way too. I still am for some of my stuff just because I have so many listings in so little time, but they're lazy. So So I got on board to start helping people, and usually when it starts out, I just I say, hey, let me look at your stuff. I look at it, and then I tell them this is where you can improve. Try to give them as much free advice as I can, and then go from there. So that's pretty much it on the Amazon front. I mean, I could tell you my whole life story, but it's probably going to get boring at some point.
You don't need to hear your life story. All right. I see more people joined us. Great. So today, I wanted to say tonight, but it's not everywhere night. So Andy, what you will be sharing with us?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of take you through the process step by step of what we do for our clients. And you can do it yourself. You probably won't be as expert at it as we are, but just to get your listings optimized is going to make a huge difference in sales and conversions and your pay-per-click advertising, all that. The first step for any person owning an Amazon business, once you get your product launched, is to spend as much time as you can on the listing, because everything kind of is an afterthought. So if you have a crappy listing, your PPC is not going to work well. Your promotions won't work well. Your conversion rate will be low. So so we're just starting with how to get your listing optimized and ready for all the other steps that come after that.
Okay, I think everyone who will be watching the presentation, you're welcome to post your questions to the chat box. I will be monitoring it, and we will note down all the questions, and we will be answering them probably after the presentation, unless we will manage to catch some related question. All right. Are you ready, Andy?
Yeah, sure. All right, let's get started. Let me go ahead and...
Yep.
Okay, so the first part of this is just going to be, why do I need to optimize my listings? So I just touched on it a little bit. A lot of people just throw their listing up and let it ride, and that's the absolute worst thing you want to do, because you're going to end up wasting so much money in the long term. So some of the things that you want to do to get your listing optimized, or what optimizing your listing will get you, is more organic sales, increased conversion rate, brand awareness, better ad performance. You'll show up in more searches, of course. And I put primes the pump for ranking. A lot of times when you change your listing, it'll take anywhere from, I've seen it as quick as 15 minutes, but not lately. That used to be like last year. If you made a change on your listing, it seemed like the algorithm would pick it up right away. Now it can take up to 3 days to even weeks. So once you optimize your listing, you want to let it ride for a while, even if you see your rank or sales go down, just because that's kind of a testing period. You want to give Amazon a chance to kind of digest the new data that you gave it. So that's kind of the first step is to get the listing optimized and then send it out to Amazon. What you don't want to do when you create a listing is if you don't optimize it, you'll get very little or no sales, bad conversion rates, wasted time and money, because you're just going to be showing people a crummy listing that won't convert well. You'll get bad PPC performance. A lot of people don't know this, but if your listing doesn't carry a lot of the keywords in the back end or in the title, bullets, anything like that, a lot of times Amazon's PPC platform won't even show your product. So that's something really important. You'll show up less in searches, and you'll sit there and wonder, why am I not selling? I just spent hundreds of dollars on pay-per-click advertising. I've done a bunch of promotions, but my item's still not selling. So those are some of the things that you need to take note of. Okay, here I'm just kind of showing you a quick overview. Some of these aren't perfect, but I just wanted to show you guys kind of somebody who just threw something up and somebody who actually took the time to at least do a little bit of optimization. So the one on the left, you can see that they've got some good keywords in there. They've got natural wood, light coffee, tea, mugs. So they got coffee and tea, environmentally safe, eco. So they're throwing in some keywords there that Amazon will digest and show to more people who are searching for that type of product. On the one on the right, you see that somebody just put up natural wood, wooden mug. Which one would you buy? To me, that's a pretty easy choice. If you're given a little bit of information and the products are comparable, it's even if it's more expensive, most people are probably going to go for the one on the left. So some steps to optimizing your listing. Don't be lazy. Take the time to get it right. It'll pay you back. So when you're building the listing, really take time and really think about what kind of title will sell, what kind of bullets will sell, all those important facts. Something important a lot of people probably don't do is look at your competitors. If there's somebody in your category that's converting and selling well, take a look at their listing. Jot down some of the keywords in their title, see what the bullet points contain, and copy and paste those into a notepad or whatever spreadsheet or anything that you're using to optimize, and take note of those. Find keywords and phrases that convert. Once again, look at your competitors. But another trick that a lot of sellers don't know is an auto pay-per-click campaign. I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but the auto campaigns are great for finding keywords that are going to convert for your product that you don't know about. The title should have your most important keywords. So, say you were selling. I'm going to use a water bottle a lot in this presentation. So, say you're selling a water bottle. If you're selling a water bottle, you want to make sure that the word water bottle is in your title, but you should also make sure that you have a lot of keywords that accompany that, because if you just put water bottle in your title, there's thousands of other sellers that have water bottle in their title. So that's a first step, but you want to make sure you add to that. So, in the water bottle example, you'd want to say something like, water bottle with, airtight lid, watertight lid, liquid tight lid, keeps water cool, et cetera, et cetera. So you want to, make sure that you have your important keywords, but also important keywords that you can add to that those phrases. Bullet points, you want to have them optimized for quick skimming. So in other words, if somebody's reading your listing, you want the most important facts kind of short form so that somebody can skim your listing very quickly, especially in mobile view. I know that in Europe, people take their time a little bit more than we do. So in the US, people just skim listings so quickly that you really need to get the point across. And make sure that when you do a description, that it's not just a garble of text. You want to do spacing and paragraphs and bolds. The other thing is your backend keywords and phrases. Talk lately about how Amazon's going to get rid of the backward or reduce the backend keywords back to where they used to be. But until they do that, keep using all the space you have. Like I said, there's still some debate there, so I'll show you a little bit how I do it later, but definitely use all the space you have. Okay, so step one would be we need to research. So a lot of people use tools like Jungle Scout to see, to find products and to spy on competitors. So I'll just use that as an example. So if you're, once again, selling a water bottle, you would go and do a search on Amazon for a water bottle. And then you would take Jungle Scout and look and see, which product is not necessarily ranking the best, but which product's making them more money. There's a lot of confusion about rank and making more money. There's a lot of times where you might rank lower than somebody, but you make more money than them. So rank is important, but when it comes to making money, it's not the most important things. So look at their, when you find the competitor that looks like they're doing the best sales-wise, take a look at their photos, their content and features, take note of their titles, their bullets and description. And then one of the most important things is take a look at their photo. If your photo isn't as good or better than theirs, then that's something that you need to address right away, because When people are skimming, especially in the search field, when they're given a list of products, the first thing they look at is that photo. So if your photo is not as good as theirs, then they're going to move on. And so here I give you a quick example for on Jungle Stout here. So when I did this search for a water bottle, you'd see that this Hydro flask down here is not the highest ranked, but is making the most money. So that's who I'd be looking at competitor wise. Okay, so here's some steps to a perfect title. So what you want to do is make sure you include your brand name, your most important keywords and phrases, like I talked about previously. You don't want to look spammy though. A lot of people, will just cram a bunch of keywords into their title and it looks terrible. So that's still better than a short title. I mean, I'd still prefer that over something that says, blue water bottle, but you want to make it look as nice as possible and include only the essential elements, but still keep your keywords, in that title. Use as much space as you can. Once again, there's also a lot of debate on that about, if the title's too long, it can look spammy or, a buyer will move on. That can be the case, but I'll show you here how you can use a long title and still have it look pretty decent. Another thing is to know your customer and fix a pain point. A lot of people, when they create a listing, they don't think about, the person who's gonna buy that product. So they'll put, this is a great water bottle and it keeps water cold. That's great. But another thing you would want to possibly add into that is this is a great water bottle. It'll work great. It'll keep your water cold, whatever that basic point is. But then add on to it, this water bottle will fit perfectly into your cup holders and will keep your clothes clean on the commute to work. So by doing that, you're creating kind of a visualization for the customer that they're thinking, oh, if I buy this water bottle on my commute, it's designed specifically to help me not spill. So my work clothes won't get messy on my way to work. And to a lot of people, that's important. So that's what I mean when I say find a pain point. Find something that you can relate to the customer to make them want to buy your product. Some of the things, once again, you don't want to do is leave out your brand name. You don't want to stuff your title with keywords. You don't want to repeat yourself. You don't want to exclude features or selling points like I just talked about. And you don't want to just fill space to fill space. A lot of people will just dump words in there to fill space. That's something you definitely don't want to do. Okay, so I'll give you a couple examples here of a good title and a bad title. So, all right, on the first one here, you can see best sports water bottle, 32 ounces large, fast flow, flip top, leak proof lid with one click open, non-toxic, BPA free, and eco-friendly, et cetera, et cetera. So what you can see here is this isn't a title I would have done. I would have done it a little bit differently, but I just wanted to show you quickly the difference here of this company who's really taking the time to know their customer and add the keywords, and then this company, which is a very well-known company, Camelback. I've never even heard of this first company, but if you look at their sales here, they're killing it. They're making $9,000 more a month. Almost $9,000 more a month than the Camelback, which is a national brand. So this is something to really take note of. The short title doesn't win the race. Okay, so the next thing that we really want to touch on are bullet points. Once again, a lot of people say don't repeat it on Amazon, and that's the case when you're on a certain element. So in the title, you don't want to repeat in a specific, single bullet point. You don't want to repeat yourself. If you, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So what you do want to do though is you want to include your brand name, your most important keywords and phrases in the bullet points. So, for example, if water bottle is your main keyword, or let's say blue water bottle, you want to make sure that phrase blue water bottle appears at least once more in one of your bullet points. And usually Amazon will take the words or phrases in the beginning of these fields as the most important. So in your title, if blue water bottle is the most important phrase, you'd want that at the furthest, the closest to the beginning of the title as possible. And this is true for the bullet points as well. You want to keep those important keywords and phrases towards the beginning. Once again, you don't want to look spammy, but if you're creative, you can cram in a ton of phrases and keywords and things that will make your listing still look great, but get you all those long tail keywords. Use as much space as you can, and that's a little misleading. Use enough space to get a lot of keywords in there, but still keep it short enough to where your first bullet point isn't the size of your description. Once again, know your customer. Kind of that example I used in the title about painting a picture for the customer, about getting their keeping their pants dry and clean on the way to work. Find more points like that. If it's an insulated bottle, maybe say, this will keep your ice cold for 12 hours. You don't have to keep going to the freezer, et cetera, et cetera. Depending on the product, you just want to find as many visualization type scenarios as you can to really let the customer feel like, if they get this product, paint the picture of how it would help them and improve their lives. Once again, you want to optimize for skimming and mobile users. I'll show you an example of that here soon. And what you don't want to do is, once again, you don't want to exclude your brand name. You don't want to stuff with irrelevant keywords. You don't want to repeat yourself, exclude features or selling points, and fill space to fill space. Same thing as a title. It's pretty much the same for the bullet points, but the bullet points, you have more room. So you have more space to sell your product. Okay, so here's the example of the water bottle again. Now, once again, this isn't perfect. There's a couple of things I would change, but I just wanted to show you once again, kind of the difference on somebody who took their time and actually wrote up some decent bullet points and somebody who just kind of threw something up there. And it's sad that this is a national brand that's writing these bad bullet points, but because they're a national brand, the laziest listers on Amazon are national brands, because they already have the name recognition, so they think they can just sit back and relax. What they don't realize is private label sellers, third-party sellers are really going to be the new national brands here soon, because Amazon is where everybody goes to buy products. So, I mean, when people show you all the their profit and the expectations of selling on Amazon, what people don't realize is that there's a huge opportunity to displace some of these huge national brands. But anyway, I digressed a little bit here. So let's go back to these bullet points here. So as you can see in the first one, they've got some stars there. I would not use those stars. That would probably take Amazon off, and it looks spammy. So get rid of. Let's act like the stars aren't there. But you can see how they have all caps on the first line there. They're a little bit shorter than I would like, but at least they've got the concept. They're optimizing for skimming here. So they say, the first cap's the better bottle, designed for the active, the durable difference, free added bonus, and guaranteed purchase. So if you're looking at this product and skimming it very quickly, those points will stand out. And so they're good selling points because they're short and simple, but the customer gets it right away. Now, on the good bullet point example, if it were one I was writing, the better bottle would not be, or the caps wouldn't be that small. I would say, almost that entire first line would be caps. So in other words, this entire first line here, all the way down to the end, I would have, the better bottle for keeping your water cold, and if it was a dual insulated, maybe your water cold and your coffee hot for up to 12 hours, something like that. So the entire first line would be caps. Now, what that does is a couple of things. One, the short ones are okay, but you're not getting quite as much information as you should give the customer. So that's one reason. The other reason is on mobile. you want they'll pretty much only see the caps. So the caps is a good guide for keeping you optimized for mobile, but also just for getting the point across really quickly. Also try to keep the paragraph size similar, and that is also a good technique just because it makes the listing look really clean and nice. I mean, if you can keep each one of your bullet points to the same number of lines, so in other words, this top one here, they've taken 3 lines, and then the next one they've taken 4 lines. Oops, sorry about that. Which is fine, but if you can keep the bullet points all to the same number of lines, it'll just look that much more clean, especially if you have the caps to separate each bullet point. Now, just to touch on the bad bullet points here really quickly, they make some decent selling points, but it's just literally not only the content but the layout. I mean, just the way that they wrote this, it just looks sloppy and pretty much like garbage. I would probably pass on that product. Okay, so the description is pretty much exactly the same as the title and the bullet points, except you're able to do long form here. If you really want to take the time to do it yourself or try to find a copywriter or something like that, what you really want to do now in the description is continue on the theme that you started in the title and the bullet points. If you were doing a water bottle that was dual insulated, you'd go ahead and follow up on the points that you made in the title and the bullet about, keep your clothes clean, keep your water cold, keep your coffee hot, and then go through and long form, painting the picture of how this product is going to enrich or better the life of the customer. So that's pretty much what you want to do with the description. The other thing you really want to remember with the description is you want to use the acceptable HTML tags that Amazon allows, which would be things like the B tag. So these tags here, if you put some text between these tags here, it'll bold it out. So that'll separate your description. A lot of people just throw up a bunch of bolded or non-bolded text and no spacing in it, and it just looks like a big, garble of words. So those are a couple of really important things. All right, so I'm a good description and a bad description again. So, once again, they go finally cold water when you want it. So they're painting a great kind of picture. Cold for 36 hours, you say, impossible how? They're doing some definite infomercial type speak, but honestly, that's why infomercials work so well is you want to paint the picture and sell the product in a way that relates to your customers. And so you can see here that they've utilized the bold points and the spacing. So you've got some continuity here and you've got some separation, and they've also bolded their important points. So those are all great. It's a little bit sloppy. Once again, like I had mentioned in the bullets, I would have tried to keep each paragraph the same in lines and things like that, just to make it look really clean and readable. And once again, we'll go back to the national brand, Camelback, blah, 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 blah. It's just a big garble of words. I mean, when you look at that, you just see a bunch of words. I wouldn't even read that if I was looking at this product. So, okay, something that a lot of people aren't utilizing yet, but is something that's available and should be used is enhanced brand content. So I don't know if you've noticed, but this used to be only reserved for bigger brands. But now, if you're brand registered on Amazon, you most likely have access to this. I believe it's under the advertising menu in your Seller Central account. And what this does is it lets you add photographs and helps you kind of get more visual on the description. Amazon themselves say that these things convert much better, and we would have to agree. The main issue with this is it just takes a lot of time. If you have hundreds of listings, getting these all set up just takes a really, really long time. So That's the main downfall with these. But if you have access to it, definitely try to use it. And if you don't want to spend too much time, take one of your products, the old 80-20 rule. Take one of your best-selling products and concentrate on that one first and try it out and see what happens. And if it converts better, then you can move on down the road. So back-end keywords. This is always something that a lot of people struggle with. There's a lot of debate on. So I'll just tell you what's working for us, and you can test it or test our theory and go with what works for you. So what you do want to do for finding keywords is use tools like keywordtool.io. And what that does is if you plug in, water bottle, it'll give you, 200 phrases that are words that would accompany the search water bottle. So, blue water bottle, plastic water bottle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it'll just give you a huge list of keywords that people normally type with the word water bottle on Amazon. Merchant words is a good one for finding out what keywords are the most popular. Once again, steal keyword ideas from your competitors. If they're selling a lot, they're doing something right. Now, you can't see their back-end keywords, but if they're smart and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing to get the maximum effect, a lot of those keywords are going to be in their title and bullet points anyway. So that's where you can find them. So what we do on most of our listings, so this is all trial and error, and it really depends product to product, but trial and error is the best way to sell more on Amazon. I mean, that's the overwhelming theme of what we do. So what we do is the first field, we repeat ourselves if we have to, but what we want is the most important phrases on that first keyword field. So if water bottle was our most important phrase, we would include it in the first field of search terms, blue water bottle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So phrases that are important to you, use in that first line, and it's okay to repeat yourself. What we do for the remaining 4 fields is go for the long tail keywords. So that would be things like blue, purple, red, clear, hard, plastic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So words that would accompany the main search term or the main search phrases. On the last 4 fields, try not to repeat yourself. There's some tools that I'll mention later that will help you strip out, words that repeat themselves. But for the last 4 fields, you don't want to repeat yourselves. And another trick that a lot of people don't use is if you're running an Amazon PPC campaign, go and look to see what phrases in those campaigns are converting well. If they're converting well, then they should be somewhere in your listing, whether it's in the title, the bullets, or in the back end keywords. What you don't want to do is you don't want to fill in just any keywords. You want to make sure that they're relevant, at least partially relevant, slightly relevant, but you don't want to include just a bunch of garbage. Only include a small list of phrases like I talked about for that first text box, just the most important stuff. You don't want to ignore your PPC keywords or ignore your competitors, because those are where you're going to get some of your best converting keywords. Go back. Augustus wanted me to remove the garlic press, but I had to at least stick one in there just because if you've been selling on Amazon for quite a while, like I have, everybody always tries to teach you things on Amazon use the garlic press example. So I kind of laugh at that. So here's some bad back-end keywords and some good back-end keywords. Now, this is not for the first, more for the additional 4 text boxes. The first text box, like I said, we would reserve for our most important phrases. But for the remainder 4, here's some things that here's kind of an example of what you do. So, most people for garlic press, you got some brands in here, some popular name brands. You got stainless steel, you got grips, you got plastic, you got made in the USA, you got cleaning, et cetera, et cetera. These are the terms that you want to include in conjunction with in conjunction with your main keywords. So let's see. Yeah, so these are the ones that you would like to include. Now, one thing you want to take note of is on these back-end keywords, a lot of times Amazon has stop words. Nobody knows the rhyme or reason behind them, but for some reason, if Amazon finds a phrase in the back end it doesn't like, sometimes it'll stop indexing from that point. There's a great tool that's free. It's a Chrome extension called KW Index Checker. And what that'll do is if you install that into your Chrome, you can take your ASIN and paste in your backend keywords, and it'll go through and tell you exactly which keywords are indexed and which ones are not. And then that way you can try to do some troubleshooting and figure out why Amazon decided to not index those phrases. Actually, what I should mention at this point too is, some of the tools that you want to use to get these back-end keywords. So I mentioned Keyword Tool IO, Merchant Words. There's another tool called Keyword Inspector. That's really good. There's a ton of those tools out there. The best thing to do is just test and see which one you get the best success with. All right, so you're optimized. Now what? So some things that you need to get to work on. I saw before somebody was mentioning in the chat videos and things like that. Videos are definitely something good to have. They're just going to cost you some money because you have to go through some third parties to get those videos. But if you can include them, absolutely, they're great selling tools. But anyway, so you're optimized now at testing. You want to treat your listing like a science experiment. So, every day you want to do some type of testing on your listing. So one day change your title, one day change your main photo, change your price. There's so many things you can change on your Amazon listing that you can literally sit for months and continue to optimize. Something else to get to work on are Amazon PPC ads. If you're not running Amazon PPC ads yet, then you're missing out on sales. If you're doing it right, you'll definitely make money. Promotions. Now, a lot of people have stopped doing promotions. The whole change of service, the whole review terms of service change has really scared people off from doing promotions. But that's definitely the wrong thing. If you're not still using promotions, then your competitors are, and that's how they're beating you. So the game has changed a little bit. Instead of, just giving products away for free, which a lot of sellers used to do, now you want to give, products away for a big discount. And people are saying, well, why am I going to give products away? I'm not getting a review in return. Well, there's a couple of reasons you want to do that, especially over a couple day period. And, that's because when you start selling a decent number of items, Amazon's algorithm sits up and takes notice. Like, why is this listing selling so much? I should, give it some more credence. And so the algorithm will pick up those sales and will definitely spark some more interest. You'll see it's like magic. It's literally, you'll see some incredible changes, not only on your sales, but your listings and your pay-per-click. You'll start getting more views and more clicks and things like that. So it's something to really take notice about. Another thing that very few sellers do are A/B testing, especially photos and price. In our experience, are kind of the two main things, but the title is also important. And then bullet points and description. So if I were doing A/B testing, I would do it in this order. I would start with my photos, then my title, then my bullet points, then my description. And I would say pricing for last, because you want to optimize the listing on all the other points first. And then the last point would be to change your pricing and see how those work. And what you have to realize is a lot of people don't want to drop their price or raise their price. But what you'll really notice is, especially if you're using software that tracks your profit, is sometimes raising your profit and selling less items is better. Raising your price will let you make more profit. You might sell less items, but at the end of the day, you're making more money. And it's the same thing with lowering your price. if you lower your price and sell 100 units a day rather than 50 units a day, and you're making a little less profit, but at the end of the day, you're making more money, then that's what that's what you should do for your product. The last thing was the enhanced brand content listing pages, which I mentioned earlier. If you have access to those, definitely at least test them on. Now, some of the things I talked about next, I'm just going to give you a quick overview, just so you know what I'm talking about. So, quick pay-per-click, if you're just starting out and you want to kind of dip your toes in the water. What we generally do is start out with an auto campaign with a fairly high bid, and depending on the product, a fairly high bid can be multiple dollars. But generally, for a majority of our clients, a bid around $1 seems to do the trick. And what that'll do is you'll set that and let it go for a week. And after a week's time, you'll probably lose money. Your ACoS will probably be pretty terrible. ACoS is advertising cost of sale if you're not sure. So what will happen is you'll probably lose some money on that first week. But when at the end of that week, you'll kind of get a big list from the search term report of the search terms that converted and also the search terms that gave you views. So in other words, Amazon's thinking those search terms are very relevant for your product. So those are two things you want to take note of. Now, after the auto campaign is done, you can run an auto and a manual campaign together, but the auto campaign is good to start with just to get some good ideas on keywords to move to the manual campaigns and also move into your listing while you're optimizing. But when you're creating a manual campaign, you definitely want to use groups to separate the different types of match types. So if you were doing a water bottle, you would want to do one group that you would include all the targeted phrases that you think will convert and put them in a broad match ad group, a phrase match ad group, an exact match ad group. And then you'll go back and, decide on what converts best and then adjust bids accordingly. But each one of those will convert differently. And for every product that I think I guess one way will turn out the other way. So if I post a bunch of, or if I put a campaign up and I put a bunch of words up and I go, I guarantee you that broad's going to convert better than phrase or exact, or I guarantee you phrase is going to convert better than broad, or whatever I have in my mind, half the time that's not the case. It's, one of the other phrase match or one of the other match types that converts better. So you definitely want to try all those match types. Another thing you need to realize before you start advertising, a lot of people wait till after they start advertising to figure this out, but find out what your break-even ACoS is. So in other words, how much of a profit do you need to make on each sale in order to at least break even on your product? Now, you don't want to break even. You want to do better than you, but that's just a good number to keep in your mind so that you're not losing money on your advertising. Now, what we do is usually we check our campaigns every day because we all clients, so we have to check theirs as well. So we're checking campaigns every day. But generally, a rule of thumb for our clients, what we tell them when we hand reins back to them is, check your listings about once a week. And usually a good day to check them is when the week takes over, which I believe is Monday. Monday morning or Monday afternoon is a good time to check them because then you get the whole previous week's data to go through and look at. So the main issue that I see with a lot of clients is just overspend. People are bidding too much money, and they think that if they're not converting for that phrase, that they're just going to keep raising their bids till they convert. Now, you want to do something different than that. You want to look at the words that are actually converting, and then continue to lower those bids to a point where you still get views, clicks, and conversions, but at a price that gives you a profit. So that's something a lot of sellers don't even take into account. The other thing a lot of sellers don't do is negative exact matches. So generally, if you run a campaign for a month, and after a month you have 100 phrases in your search term report that haven't converted at all, it's probably a good idea to add those phrases to your negative exact matches. The reason for that is because you're spending money on words that aren't giving you any sales. So you're pretty much just throwing your money away. Now, that can change if it's a seasonal item. So if it's a seasonal item, you want to be aware of that and maybe negative exact match them during a certain time of year, and then go back and revisit it and see if those words convert, for Valentine's Day or Christmas or something like that. So that's kind of just a quick overview of PPC campaigns. I'm assuming that you have at least a little bit of familiarity with it. If you don't, there's a lot of places that you can go and just kind of, including Amazon's own documentation, to just at least get a foothold in it. And YouTube is an amazing thing. You can find a video for just about anything there to at least start out with that. I'm going to go and touch back on promotions again here quickly. Now, promotions I talked about are important, and sellers are no longer or not utilizing them nearly as much as they used to, and that's a huge mistake. You get a sales boost and increase in rank instantly. I mean, we've seen within hours on some of our products, some of our clients' products, where we just, boom, we get an instant rank boost. And you want to use your promotions. A lot of people don't know this. They just throw a promotion up and just walk away. You absolutely can't do that. You want to hit the promotion from all ends. You want it to, if you have some knowledge on Facebook advertising, you want to do a Facebook ad. You want to do a promotional giveaway on sites like ours. You want to, of course, have that product backed up by a PPC campaign during the entire promotion, because you want Amazon to sit up and take notice and say, wow, this product's really selling, and we really need to take a look at it and see why, and the algorithm will take another look. You want to be aggressive, but you want to make it look natural. So Amazon counts a sale as a sale, whether it's a full price sale or a 90% off sale. So when you do it, we've seen some of the best results with 90% off. For one thing, you'll get as many shoppers as you need to claim that percentage off, and it's also just good velocity. And the other thing that is very important is to not give those codes all the way at once. You want to drip them out. So over, depending on how big of a campaign you're running, but most people, say you're giving out 60 codes over 3 days, you'd want to give out 20 codes a day. And what this does is it kind of solidifies for Amazon, like, okay, this product's selling 20 a day, and that's what it's going to continue. And so for a lot of your keyword ranks, you'll kind of get a foothold there, and Amazon will actually keep your product there, even maybe for a couple more days, even if you're not selling as much. So those are some things to really take note of. A lot of people are using a new Facebook coupon method. So if you haven't heard of it, you can give away coupons on Facebook. That method in our testing just doesn't work very well. You get a fairly low conversion rate, and very few of them will leave a review and things like that. So in our testing, the Facebook coupon method just does not work. You're better off to promote your page on whatever promotional site that you're using to give promotions away, and drive the traffic there to get more sales there if you need it. It takes a very little time and effort to set up a promotion, under 5 minutes. And usually in a lot of our testing as well, we did, when you're launching a product, especially, the amount of money that you're going to spend in PPC compared to a promotion is pretty similar, and the promotion is going to most likely give you a better rank boost. So that's what we really take a look at when we're launching new products. The other thing to really remember is to protect your inventory. When you're creating that promotion, make sure you check the one item per customer, and then you also want to go into your listing and click on the offer tab and make sure that you put a max order quantity. Since Amazon got rid of the dollar amounts, it's much harder to protect your inventory. So when running the promotion, make sure you change that number. to like a 1 or 2, or if you're only, if the promotion is like 50% off, then you can do as much as 5 and 10, as long as you're okay with one customer buying that many units. Okay, I talked a little bit about A/B testing a little bit earlier, but you definitely want to do A/B testing. So in a lot of tests that we did, just A/B testing, we saw conversions go up 20% or even higher. I mean, sometimes even 50% to 100%. It really depends on the product and things like that. But if you're not A/B testing, you're leaving money on the table. So like I mentioned earlier, you want to test your photos, titles, bullets, description, and price. And you want to do those separately, because if you do like a photo and a price, you won't get an accurate reading, because you're testing more than one item at a time. So you'll get some false positives or some false readings on that. So make sure you do them one at a time. And I just picked a couple of pictures here. So if your product, each one of these product photos to see which converts best. I'm assuming one on the left. The only issue with the one on the left here is they've got some extra things in the main photo, this color swatch here, which a lot of people do it. Amazon doesn't want that. It's against the listing rules. So if you do that, you probably will get away with it. But if a competitor sees that, they could go and report your listing. So just be aware of that. But lots of sellers do it. But anyway, it's the best photo, and that's what this company is using right now. These are their sub photos. So I'm sure they did some type of testing and figured out that first photo there converts the best. They probably started with the one in the middle, I'm assuming, and then went on to this other photo here and settled on that one. So this is just a quick, just to show you what I'm talking about when I'm talking about A/B testing. And generally, it's the main photo. I mean, you could probably A/B test the additional photos, but that's something that probably won't give nearly as big of a reaction conversion wise. And a quick example of having text in your description. This is what an enhanced brand content looks like. If you're brand registered and you have access to it, this is the kind of content you can put in the description. And what I was saying was this company's painting a picture. You have a guy sitting in the rain in his jacket holding a water bottle, and this is definitely one of those painting a picture, putting somebody in the feeling like they're using this water bottle. And the other thing I was saying is this picture is fine, but if it were me, and they may have A/B tested it and decided that this is the best one, but I would have used something a little different, like, maybe somebody sitting on a beach, or, something that's a little more warm, or, maybe on a cruise ship or at a resort, something that kind of, gives a different feeling. Now, this might be a bottle they're trying to, target active users. And then if in that case, this might be it, or, maybe show somebody hiking while holding it or something like that. But anyway, you get the idea. This is what you can get with enhanced brand content. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of questions. I just wanted to share a couple of things here. This is a Facebook group that I mainly focus on just the SEO factors of listings. But if you want to join that group, I'll jump in there and answer questions and kind of converse with people on questions they have about creating their listings. I also just started our podcast, and our podcast is going to be a little bit different than some of the podcasts that are out there right now, like Amazing Seller, APM, some of those. Those are geared more towards the seller who's first starting out. This is going to be a little more advanced. So our podcast is going to be geared a little bit more towards people who've been selling for a while and been successful and are kind of looking for kind of the next level type strategies and things like that. I mean, we'll definitely, if you're a new seller, you'll still get a ton of value out of it. You might just have to do a little bit of homework before or after the podcast. Let's see.
Ron is also asking, what is your Facebook ID, or how can people find you on Facebook?
AMZ Blitz. It's just facebook.com, AMZ Blitz. It's AMZ BLITZ. Facebook.com/AMZBlitz. That group is a good way to connect. The Facebook page is more of just posting of our products and more so on the shopper side. If you want to really get in and converse with me and some of those group members, that the first group that I showed you would probably be your best bet. But anyway, here's some of the tools that we use for ourselves and our clients. Self-plug, we use AMZ Blitz for our promotions. And AMZ Blitz is kind of double faceted. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard of one of our competitors, Snag Shout. So we're very similar to that on one tier of service. So we offer a free account if you want to just come in and create a promotional campaign and give promotions out to our users. But then we also have paid plans if you're a big seller, you want to do a ton of promotions. And then we also have a second tier, and the second tier is just is an all-around product optimization service. So what we would do there is, if you're launching a new product, you would come to us. If you have a stale product, you'd come to us, and we pretty much take your listing and change it from a 0 to a hero. So we'll optimize your title, your photos, your description, your backend keywords. We'll create a pay-per-click campaign for you. So it's pretty much you hand the reins to us for a week, and we kind of set your listing up and put it on cruise control and then hand it back to you. So we kind of give you a really huge head start when it comes to getting sales on Amazon for a new product or a product that's been sitting still. Keyword Tool IO is the one I mentioned for getting long tail. Keyword Inspector. Keyword Inspector has a free tool that you can paste a bunch of keywords into, and we'll remove all the extra keywords for the last 4 backend keywords fields that I mentioned earlier. That's a great tool to make sure you're not repeating yourself. I also mentioned earlier the Keyword Index Checker. That's the Chrome extension I mentioned to make sure you're getting your listings indexed. PPC Scope is a great tool by my friend Brian, who's on the first episode of our podcast, if you listen to it. And his tool is great to see what keywords are making you money and what keywords are losing you money when it comes to Amazon advertising. Saves you a ton of time, and if you hate Excel spreadsheets, then it'll be your best friend. Something else we can use, a lot of people use a service called Splitly for A/B testing, and that's fine, but Cash Cow Pro gives you A/B testing and a lot more for the price. So you get A/B testing, you get profit loss, which is huge. A lot of Amazon sellers don't track that, and that's extremely important. So definitely recommend that if you want to do A/B testing, and they have a ton of other tools that are pretty solid. Something else to mention is what we use on a lot of our listings is Pixabay. Pixabay is a free image repository, and if you want some lifestyle images for your product, it's a great place to grab some great free images, and you don't pay anything. They're royalty free, and they're free to use without any type of payment or attribution. So that's a really, really helpful tool there. And this is just a plug for our service, for our consulting service. If you need sourcing, product launches, listing optimization, product photos, pay-per-click campaign setup and management, manage promotions, key ranking, all that, it's pretty much any help with your Amazon account or your product, we can help you. If we don't have a solution for you, we'll just quote you a price, a fairly reasonable one usually, and help you any way we can. But even if you don't hire us, if you go on and there's that link down there, AMZBlitz/SOS. If you go there and just enter your information and link us to your product, we'll give you free advice even if you don't hire us. We'll write you back and say, we like this, we don't like this, we've changed this, we wouldn't change this, things like that, just some free advice. We'll give that to you either way. And you can, after we email you, you can email back and ask any questions, and we'll follow up with you. And no problems there. One of my favorite things is helping sellers. If I could do it for free, I would totally do it. But everybody has to make a living, so I don't think my wife would appreciate it if I gave all that away for free. So anyway, there's that. And last but not least, if you want a PDF copy of this webinar, you can go to that the short link here, and you'll get this whole presentation in a PDF format. So last but not least, hopefully I didn't run too long for all of you.
All right, we have a couple of questions from the audience since the beginning. Okay, Roberto is asking what is a free photo source. It's pixabay.com. It's a free, people from around the world, photographers, they're uploading pictures there, and you can download images. And I think all of them have license that you don't need to add contribution to the contribution.
There's no attribution. If you use their image a lot, though, they have a link to buy them a coffee. It's like a $5 tip, and that's still much, much cheaper than all the professional photography services. So yeah, if you find a good photo and it's making you lots of money, make sure you go back and tip those guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's try to run through the questions. Maybe we can make it short. You mentioned a few split testing tools. Of course, everybody knows Splitly. I didn't really know that Cashco Pro is doing that. Is it advanced as Splitly, or it's a bit less advanced?
Honestly, I've never used Splitly, but just for the price, Cashco Pro, I think it's $50 a month. I'm not getting any affiliate commission or anything like that. It's just one of the tools I've used. Just for the money, I mean, Splitly, you've got one function, which is A/B testing. On Cashco, you get product tracking, keyword tracking, A/B testing, profit. The profit is the biggest thing. Most Amazon sellers I know don't track their profit, and that's a huge mistake, because once you start ticking off all the expenses with promotions and pay-per-click costs and the cost of the actual product and shipping the product to yourself or to Amazon, all those expenses add up. So if you don't know what you're spending on your product, then you're lost. You're going to lose money from the beginning. If you ever watch the show The Profit, I don't know if it's in Europe, but in the US, there's a show called The Profit, and the host of that, he's always railing on, you have to know your profit. Otherwise, you're going to lose. You're going to not have a successful business. So that's a great tool.
Another tool which I wanted to mention for those, basically for German people, there is a amzstars.com. They're offering a new tool, A/B testing tool. I haven't tested it, seen myself, but it's all in German, the website. So it's at the moment, I'm not sure if they will expand to English market, but interfaces in German. So,
that's something to mention for us too, is for our service right now, we're only US based. It's only for Amazon.com. We should be rolling out, at least on the promotional platform, even on the free account. I think we should hopefully have the European markets covered here, and I'm hoping in the next 30 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go through the questions. Arturas was asking, what would you say about rendering photos?
So rendering photos, taking photos, or rendering photos like photos?
I think rendering, maybe he means these layer, when you take a layer.
Oh, like the 3D rendering?
I would think so. I don't know exactly. I'm not native English speaker.
I mean, we don't do 3D renders. You can get 3D renders probably on Fiverr or something like that. Amazon doesn't like 3D renders because they feel like it doesn't, the product's not depicted accurately. So I have to check, but I think they might have even said that you can't use renderings anymore. Lots of people do it, but it might be against the policy now. I can't remember, but I know for a fact that they don't like rendered product photos. But you could find somebody to do it, I'm sure, on Fiverr or something like that, if you want a 3D render.
And why do you think Amazon doesn't like that? Did you have experience, or someone was warned by this? Between clients and also our own experience is Amazon will remove the photo and say, this isn't accurately depicting the product, post actual product photo. So
yeah, we've had experience on our own end for some of our clients.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear because some people are offering, like, suggesting to do that, but everyone has different experiences.
No, you can. The thing is if you do a 3D rendering, it's not a bad idea, and they do convert well. Just make sure the 3D rendering looks exactly like your product, and keep as much fluff out of it as possible. I mean, you'll see a lot of, especially like skincare products and things like that, they'll show the 3D rendering of the skincare product and then a 3D rendering of the box. Now, there's a couple of problems with that. One is Amazon doesn't want you to, put additional items in the photos. Tons of sellers do it. It converts better a lot of times because it catches people's eyes. It's just those reward things. It's you can bend Amazon rules all you want. It's just, how much do you want to bend them before you get in trouble, or they catch you, or they make it their new priority. What we see with Amazon is, every 3 to 6 months to a year, they've got these directives that they go to. It's for a while there it was reviews, and then it was hijackers is the latest one. You're getting all these fake sellers just listing hundreds of thousands of items. So what they do is they tackle one thing at a time if there's an issue. So if they decide they're going to start cracking down on main photos and your entire account is a bunch of products with rendered products and additional items in the main photo, you might have gotten away with it for a while, but when they come on that specific witch hunt, you might get caught. So it's risk reward, really. I mean, on a lot of this stuff.
Okay. Don was asking earlier, what do you think about giveaways in closed Facebook groups and 100 money returns via PayPal? It's against terms of service, but how dangerous is it? I don't. Yeah, maybe.
Don't bother. And honestly, I mean, I hate to self plug, but our tool is free, and we have thousands of sellers, and we know we do it a little bit differently than a lot of the other promotional platforms, in the fact that we make our sellers have to register and verify their identity before they purchase. So that way, if they abuse the system, we know exactly who they are. So you use a platform like ours or some of our competitors, Snagshot, or I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that people use.
And do you use?
I don't know.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's another question by the same person. He was asking, do you use email follow-up services? Any suggestions about follow-up letters, extra free stuff in attachments like ebooks, etc.?
So the Cash Pro, that website I told you, they also do email follow-ups. So that's why I like that service. I mean, they're giving you a ton of stuff for a little bit amount of money. It's a good toolbox. But anyway, so there's been a couple of changes from Amazon lately. When they shut the reviews down, then everybody defaulted to these email follow-ups, and so you can do them. Amazon's kind of frowning on it a little bit. You're not going to get in trouble for it, at least not yet, from what we've seen so far. But they're letting customers opt out. So, if you're a customer that shops a lot on Amazon, I'm probably one of the biggest Amazon customers around. I love Amazon. My wife and I, we live far away from town, so we get a lot of stuff delivered. So we get tired of, our email inbox is just constantly filled up with sellers doing follow-up emails. So I personally don't use them, just because, unless it's a new product, maybe for the first couple of weeks, just because I don't think you're going to get the type of feedback that you want. What people don't realize is when they do promotions on various platforms, if the person gets a discounted product, as long as there's no stipulation that they have to leave a review, they can leave a review. Now, the rate's probably going to be similar to the email follow-ups. It's going to be a low percentage, but you're still going to get some reviews out of that because it's just a discounted sale. So if the person likes the product and they will leave a review, great. If not, then they move on. So to me, that's a safer bet for promotions and reviews, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when you were talking about the title of the product and you said to put a brand name. And Larry was saying, why put the brand name? It's typically not a search term.
Well, so there's a couple of reasons to do that. One is if you're a private label seller, which most people in this webinar probably are, and if you're not, then promoting your listing, if you're not the manufacturer, promoting your listing is kind of lost in translation in my eyes, because why are you going to promote somebody else's product? You know, if you're wholesaling for someone, I mean, I get that people wholesale, but to me, unless you're in control of the product, why would you promote somebody else's product? But getting back to the point, you want your product name in the title because you're trying to build a brand. Like I mentioned earlier in this webinar, Amazon's kind of a new level playing field where small brands can overtake large brands. So if you're putting your product up there, like, you know, the water bottle example, you say, you know, here's a blue water bottle. Okay, great. I'm going to buy this blue water bottle and you'll never see me again. And, you know, you've gotten one sale out of me, but I'm never going to give you any future business, or I'm never going to get any recognition of this brand or its products or anything. So, I mean, the main point of that is to get brand recognition so that people come back and buy from you again, or tell their friends, or, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Don was asking, how do you add a star in the bullet point? And I saw later someone was saying that you could just Google that character and copy paste. Is it true?
Yeah, you can get characters like that, or even in Word or something like that. There's a character button to get characters from. I wouldn't use them like I mentioned in my thing. They're eye-catching, yes, but they're against terms of service, and you know, Amazon doesn't want special characters like that, and it looks spammy, and there's no reason for it. Just capture bullet points, and that's where you'll get the most effective you know, use of those bullet points.
Mm-hmm. Evelyn was just commenting when you were talking about using bold in the description. He says that it's against the terms of service. So not sure if it's
to do what? Bold?
Yeah, to use bold.
No, not true. They don't want you using unapproved HTML, but those simple characters are fine. If you're worried about it, just drop a quick line to seller support and say, hey, I want to put this in my description. Is this okay? Mm-hmm. If you're really worried about it. But pretty much everybody I know does it. You know, we're starting to convert all our listings to that format. So as far as I know, it's not against terms of service, but if you're worried about that, go ahead and reach out to seller support.
Mm-hmm. And Martina wants to know what about putting video on your Amazon listing?
Yeah, video is great. It's a very large premium because there's a couple of services that do it that are approved by Amazon, but they're going to charge you a fairly large fee. So definitely worth it if you can afford it. If you're selling enough on Amazon to justify the cost, definitely. Just make sure that if you're going to get a video, if you're going to hire somebody to do a video, make sure that the video is fairly professional and puts your products right face forward. Meaning, if you're going to hire some like YouTube person who's never done a video before, you're not really going to get much value out of that. Make sure you're getting somebody who's going to do a great video that's going to highlight your product's features and benefits and is shot in a quality way.
Mm-hmm. Elizabeth was asking, you had an example of garlic press and all the keywords, and keywords have no commas between the words. Is it how it should be? She was asking.
Yeah, absolutely. No commas. You don't want to ever use commas in the backend keywords.
And also,
it's just wasted space.
Mm-hmm. And also, she wanted to know what is negative exact match when you talked about PPC.
Okay, so negative exact match is when you go into a campaign. Well, first of all, you can do a report on Amazon, which is a search term report, and it'll give you a spreadsheet. And You can also do it online now. The new beta interface for Amazon PPC, if you haven't enabled it yet, you should, because you can filter so many different features now on that interface. But anyway, you can download the search term report and find the actual phrases. So, for example, if you have the word water bottle in an advertising campaign and somebody searches for ultralight water bottle, it'll trigger, if it's a phrase match or a broad match, it'll still trigger that ad. So what this will do is, in a month's time, if a bunch of people have clicked on ultralight water bottle, like say 20 people, and you've paid $20 over the last month for people to click on that word, and nobody's ever bought the product using that word, you would copy that exact phrase. So it's the actual phrase that the customer searches, not the search term, the actual phrase that the customer searches, that you would go into either the ad group or the campaign, most likely the ad group, and add that phrase as a negative match. Because what you're telling Amazon is I don't want people to see my ad when this term is searched, because it's not making me any money. So your Amazon's making $20 a month off of me for the search term, but it's not returning anything in value to me. So that's why negative exact matches are important. Mm-hmm. Save you a lot of money.
Don was asking about brand registration, if you know when it will work again and what will be new rules. I don't know if it makes sense to comment because nobody knows and just rumors.
Well, I talked to one of my old Amazon account reps got moved up into new upper echelon of Amazon, but luckily I still have contact with him. And he had mentioned it. There's no real specifics. From everything I've heard, there's going to be, if you're a brand registered owner, there's going to be a lot more tools to prevent hijacking. So if you're a private label seller, like most of us, it's a godsend, because I've personally have literally lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit from hijacking. So.
And Don was asking the same person, any ideas how to drive them off, the hijackers, from the listing if you don't have trademark?
Well, actually, trademark doesn't really even matter that much. Brand registry, trademark, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. It definitely matters. But in the terms of Amazon, the brand registry, especially with these new tools that are supposedly coming out, is the most important thing. Trademark is also good. We have a trademark. It's good to it's good to kind of put fear into people. So, what we do is if there's somebody on our listing that's hijacking, we do the standard, kind of cease and desist letter, like, hey, we see you're listed on our product, we're the manufacturer, we're brand registered, blah, 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 blah. The whole spiel that similar to what most people use. And then we usually give it 24 hours or so. And then if they don't respond, what you can do, especially if you have a trademark, is hire a lawyer, which everyone's afraid of. Oh my God, that's going to cost me so much. But what you can do is hire a lawyer or call, talk to a lawyer, a trademark lawyer, and say, I have a trademark, I have an Amazon business, I have problems with counterfeiting. Can you give me a written kind of template? So what you would do is just hire a lawyer to build a template for you. That you can just change, the to, so, the who it's meant for. And then that way you can reuse that letter. And, if somebody's hijacking your listing, you just fire that off, and it's got your lawyer's contact info on it. Now, if it has to go to a further point, you're probably going to be paying the lawyer some hourly fees to follow up with that if it's worth it. But once people get a letter from a lawyer, it's usually a matter of minutes before they're off your listing. So,
mm-hmm. And Lawrence was asking about coupon codes. So use buy one. So when you're using buy one get one for free, more people will click this instead of 305 of other ones. Amazon will split the cost over both products, and you just got more sales from one customer. Well, I'm not sure. What was that?
I've heard that that's like a new theory about like the new giveaways thing. I haven't tested it personally, so I'm not sure how well that works. If it's something that starts to get abused, I'm pretty sure that that Amazon will put an end to that. So we'll see. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you when I know it and when I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I haven't tested it yet, so I don't know.
What do you suggest to Marcin, who says, what if the keywords from the backend are not indexed?
Well, so I told you about that tool. So when you use that tool, it'll give you a list of what's not indexed. So when that happens, what you have to do is in a lot of our experience, what that means is Amazon doesn't think that your listing's relevant for that backend keyword. So if it's a backend keyword that's really important to you, move it to the title, the bullets, or the description. And you can still leave it in the backend if you do that. But when you have a bunch of words in the backend and Amazon doesn't think it's relevant and it's not in the title, the bullet points, or the description, they're just going to ignore it. The other thing you can do is just try to move the keywords, copy the line, paste it into, text editor, and just try to change which keywords come before the others and test that.
Mm-hmm. One of the viewers are commenting to brand registry topic. He says, or she says, RT is his name. He says, my rep told me that new Amazon terms will state that you must apply for a trademark for brand registry. So yeah, this is the rumors everyone is.
As far as I know, that's a rumor. You can still go in through Seller Central and apply. As far as I know, you just need a website and a product with your brands actually on the product, or packaging that has the brand on the product. As far as I know, that's still the only requirements. They may change it for these new tools that are rolling out because they're giving you more control over it. That may be the case, but as far as I know, that's all you need for a brand registry. I definitely recommend that you get on the brand registry as soon as possible. It's really it takes 5 minutes. I mean, it's really not that hard if you give Amazon all the things that they ask for to get brand registered. It's really not hard, and will save you a lot of anguish, especially when these tools roll out.
On the other hand, I understand brand registry is not what you are every day doing. It's correct? Like it's not.
Oh, it's not part of our. Well, no, it's not. But like I mentioned, we help sellers do everything. I mean, we can step you through that, no problem. Mm-hmm. There's also, I mean, YouTube is your best friend, people. I mean, everybody always asks, how I learned all this stuff. I do have a technical background. And I've always been into computers and tinkering and all this kind of stuff, which really fits well into Amazon. But anything I don't know, YouTube's your best friend. I mean, go and learn every day. I mean, even as somebody who helps other Amazon sellers and does very well on Amazon myself, I always learn. Even if my competitors are doing something new, I always take a look just to make sure that I'm ahead of them, or at least I know what they're doing. So. As a good Amazon seller, you should be trying every tool, testing every theory. Like I said earlier, your listing's a science experiment. Just keep testing everything you can. I guarantee you're going to have more success than sellers who don't do that.
And Lawrence is asking, can we put the brand name in the listing if we are in process of registering the brand and logo?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, I shouldn't say, I'm not sure about Europe, but I know in the United States, you can have you can, if you're the first person to use a trademark term and you put the cap TM after it, then you've got a common law trademark, and you can definitely use it anywhere in your listing. I mean, that's your brand name. How else are people going to know who you are? So that's absolutely acceptable.
Mm-hmm. And Luke was asking, what are your thoughts on closing listings without stock to preserve rank until you have stock?
I've never used that theory. What I always do is just put my products on back order so they never go offline.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think one of the last questions we're having, Glenn is asking, what if you don't have a website for brand registry? is no good because without it, or has that changed? So basically he's asking, if you don't have a website, can you still brand register?
Go make one. Just go get a free WordPress account, or I think Shopify has a free trial. Just go. It'll take you 10 minutes. Go, fire up a free Shopify trial and put your product there and say, here you go, Amazon. Here's my brand. Register me.
And Victor would like to know, what steps are you suggesting to rank in a highly competitive niche?
The golden question. Well, I mean, like I said, what people don't realize is when the review Mageddon happened, a lot of sellers aren't doing promotions anymore. The people who are ranking in ultra competitive niches are using promotions and any other ways that they can to get their product out there. As a brand, you should have your own email lists. You should have your own kind of database of customers and follow up with them. But the most important thing that I keep mentioning is just listing optimization. Especially if you're in a competitive niche, you absolutely want to make sure your listing's optimized before you do anything, before you do pay-per-click advertising, before you do any type of promotions. Once your listing's optimized, then you start the process. Then you start your pay-per-click campaign, then you start your promotions, and then you go and do that for a week, and then you see the results, and then you go optimize your listing again. Optimizing your listing should be something that you do, on a weekly basis, especially if you don't have hundreds of products in your catalog. If you're somebody who has, say 3 to 6 to 10 products, I mean, you should be constantly optimizing those listings and getting better results.
Mm-hmm. And I think the last question is, what is the best free tool you are using?
Our own tool. No,
I think you were mentioning several these keyword tools.
Yeah, I mean the keyword indexer tool is, I actually recently found that's a great tool. A lot of companies charge a lot of money for that. Keyword Inspector has that free tool I was telling you about. They also offer paid tools, but if you sign up, they'll give you access to the free tool that removes duplicate keywords. That's a great free tool. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Well, I mentioned Pixabay, which isn't really a tool, but that's a great resource for free photos. Let's see, other free tools. I have to probably look back at my list. I'm trying to think. Oh, Keyword Tool IO. That's also free. They have a premium option, which will get you more long tail words, but even the free option is pretty awesome. So.
Mm-hmm. And so someone wanted to know if your podcast is already on iTunes.
It's not on iTunes yet. I actually just posted it today on the website. It should be on iTunes shortly. But no, too many things. I had this today, so that kept me from finishing that part out. So I've got many irons in the fire.
Your first guest was Brian Johnson. Everybody knows him. And what are your plans for your podcast?
Well, the podcast is going to be a little different than the ones that you've probably previously listened to. It's going to be more for advanced sellers. So, people who already know how to create a pay-per-click campaign, people who have, optimized their listings, most likely, people who already know how to send stuff to FBA. Not to say that you won't learn, as a newbie, you won't learn stuff. You actually will learn a lot of stuff. It's just that you might have to do some research after listening or while you're listening on, some of the topics that we will cover.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks a lot. So we had Andy Arnott with us. Can you remind how people can reach out to you? What was your website? And
yeah, it's well, you can do, if you want to contact me, normally I would give out my email address, but I already have like 100 emails that come into me a day. So I'll probably miss it. So the best thing to do is go to that link that I posted. So it's just amzblitz.com/SOS. And there's a form there, and just go ahead and fill in your information. And then I'll email you or somebody on the team will email you. and we'll, like I said, we'll take a look at your listing, and at the least, we'll shoot you some free advice and show you some of the options that we have to help you. And at the least, jump on and to the website and get the free seller account for our promotions platform. It's very similar to websites like Snagshout and things like that, and they charge you, I think, 30 or for the base account, it's like 40 or 50 bucks a month or something, and we offer it free. So jump in there and test the waters, get your listing optimized, do some pay-per-click, and then jump in there and do a promotion, even if it's a small promotion and a promotion that's not a huge discount. Even if you're giving 10 units away for 50%, if that's all you can afford, do that, and at least that'll get your listing a little bit of attention from Amazon. It'll hopefully get you some new customers, and who knows, maybe one of those customers will leave you a review.
Thanks a lot for this time, Andy, and thank you everyone who was joining us live. There will be a replay of this webinar, I think, and bye-bye for now.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care, Christus.